All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Raul Cepeda Jr. On behalf of Barcodes Inc. and Verkada, I'd like to thank you for attending our webinar today on the future of physical security, leveraging the cloud and AI to secure your organization. We know your time's precious, and we hope you gain some valuable insights today into the solution that we're going to be going over. We do have a Q&A feature available for this webinar. So please feel free to send us any questions you have along the way, and we'll address them towards the end as time allows. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Mason Mellon, Verkada's team lead. Mason?
Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I'm looking forward to showing you all what we're doing over here at Verkada. And I know that there was a little gift, promised for attending. So to qualify, we'll be sending out a short post-webinar survey where you can, select which gift you'd like. But please keep in mind, it does take a couple weeks to ship out, but we'll be sending more information about that here after the session. So just a little bit of an agenda for today. I'm going to go through a couple of slides, just explaining what we're doing over here at Verkada, how it's different from maybe some of the traditional CCTV models you guys have either worked with in the past or work with today. And then we can walk through the platform, running through how our customers are, managing their cameras, finding and sharing footage, as well as their door access control systems. Then I'll turn it over to Raul for a little bit more about the Barcodes Group value and answer any questions at the end. So if you do have questions throughout, please submit them through the Q&A function on the Zoom, and we'll be sure to answer those at the end of the session. So with that, we can jump right in. All right, so just a little bit of background about us here at Verkada. We're currently the fastest growing physical security company in the world. We're based in San Mateo, California, so just south of San Francisco. From a financial backing perspective, we're backed by the likes of Meritech, Sequoia, First Round Capital, amongst others. Some of the bigger VC firms out here in the Bay Area that brought you, Facebook, Uber, some of the bigger technology and faster growing technology companies around the world today. But a little bit of history about us. We were founded in 2016 by a group of Stanford and MIT computer scientists, as well as Hans Robertson. And Hans was actually one of the co-founders of Meraki, great networking company, back when Meraki was, acquired by Cisco in 2012. He really joined forces with our other co-founders with really the goal of creating the most modern enterprise security system out there. So what that means for our customers from the camera side of things is no more NVRs, no more DVRs, no more servers, nothing outside of just the camera itself. And then for our whole solution, we have the ability to tie into an Active Directory, really making us a secure solution from both the physical as well as a cyber perspective. And apart from being the most secure solution, they really want it to be the most scalable. So whether it's, one camera, 10 cameras, or even hundreds or thousands of cameras, or the same thing with doors, whether it's one door or 10 doors or thousands of doors. Our customers are able to deploy our system because there's no need to worry about the number of available ports on an NVR or a DVR on site. Additionally, we're doing a ton of things around artificial intelligence applications, things like people analytics, vehicle analytics, object detection, license plate recognition, just to name a few that I'll show you here in a minute. But one of the unique benefits about our entire solution is anytime we come out with a new update, whether that's for cameras, access control, some of our environmental sensors, that update's automatically pushed to our customers' hardware at no additional cost. So the system's going to continue to improve over time. And we like to say our customers are really future-proofing their system with Verkada. So jumping over to this slide here, just want to highlight, something that you guys may be familiar with, right? This is your traditional CCTV model on the left. You have your cameras tied into a switch connected to an NVR or DVR on site with, the ability to view that being tied to a monitor or a local PC with a thick client. Now, if you wanted to view this remotely, you'll have to VPN in, which typically requires you to poke a hole in your firewall or open up a port, which can be difficult to scale. It also leaves your network open to a number of different vulnerabilities. And it's not to say that, any hackers want to get into your cameras. It's just an easy access point to your network as a whole. And then an NVR and DVR actually acts as a single source of failure, right? If that goes down, you lose all your footage. From the access control side of things, we see a lot of the same challenges that we see with traditional video surveillance, right? You have your readers, tied into a switch, or a reader's going into door controllers, going back to that master controller, and usually a PC hanging on a wall with some outdated software. If you want to access this remotely or view it online, same process, right? VPNing in, which will leave your network open to, a number of vulnerabilities. It's also typically a very outdated system, and investigations become very difficult trying to pair the outdated access control system, scrolling through the surveillance, and matching those access-related events with the video surveillance footage associated with each of those events. So this is where Verkada comes in. So with Verkada, as I mentioned, on the camera side of things, it's just the camera itself. Each camera has solid state storage built in, which can store for 30, 60, 90, all the way up to 365 days, just depending on your retention needs. And that's recording 24/7 at 24 frames per second. So there's no more compromises with whichever model you go with, however much retention you need, that's what you'll get recording 24/7. And then all we're doing is we're sending encrypted thumbnails and metadata to the cloud for viewing. So we don't consistently stream it to the cloud like other cloud providers do. And why that's important is it keeps us running at about 5 to 20 kilobits per second while the cameras are recording. So the cameras are only using about the same amount of bandwidth it takes to send an email over your network. So by far the most bandwidth-friendly solution out there. And then you can view it from any device, anywhere, at any time. Both our access control product, as well as our cameras, as well as our sensors now, they all have mobile apps. So you can view it from your phone, or if you're on a computer, it's all managed via web browser. So command.verkada.com, which I'll show you here in a second. And then one of the best pieces I think about our entire solution is all of our hardware, whether it be their environmental sensors, access control, or our cameras, they all come with an industry-leading 10-year product warranty. So, if something does come up, we have an in-house support team that you can chat with right from command. But if we can't fix it and, it's within that 10-year period, we'll just overnight a new one, no questions asked. And then just want to highlight, one of our newest product lines, I know I kind of mentioned it a little bit, is our environmental sensor. We'll show a brief preview of this during the demonstration. Some of the things that, it collects data on, there's TVOC, humidity, temperature, AQI, motion, noise, and then it pairs nicely with the native integration with our cameras and the footage associated with any of the data points and any alerts you set on the sensor. And then final slide here, just want to highlight our growth. We're closing in on 5,000 customers worldwide, 40 of the Fortune 500 companies. And, if you're interested in chatting with really any of our customers in your area or really worldwide about how we've helped with their security needs, I'm more than happy to set up some time. So now we're going to jump into the actual demonstration. If you want to write down this number throughout the presentation, one of the unique benefits of Verkada is in case of an emergency situation, you can actually send a live link of one of our cameras to really anyone that needs it. So we will be sending out live links if you'd like to see how that works or get access to one of our cameras. Just text your work email address to 888-343-7537. That's 888-343-7537. With that, we can jump into it. So as I mentioned, everything's managed via command.verkada.com. Here we use Okta as our single sign-on provider. They're actually one of our customers as well. And as soon as you log into the platform or authenticate through your single sign-on, you're going to be brought into Command. So within Command, the first tab that pops up is the Sites tab. And within Sites, I can organize all of my locations by site, by sub-site. It's just a single pane of glass to get a preview of all of your cameras, easily scrolling through. And what's cool is if I click on Map here, I can see where all those cameras are around the world. So you can see we have some cameras in the UK. And if I hover over those cameras, they're going to populate with the preview on the left, or I can drill into certain regions, right? If I go to the Bay Area, the majority of our cameras are actually going to be at our headquarters here in San Mateo. So you'll notice on the right, all of the cameras are lit up in green. That means they're online, healthy recording. So unlike, traditional systems out there where you may not know for sometimes, weeks at a time if a camera goes down, and typically it's when you go back to try and find footage, only to find that, hey, this camera's been offline. We'll send you a proactive alert saying, hey, camera's offline. It will populate on the right in yellow. The second piece is they all have accelerometers built into them. So if anyone tries to tamper with the camera, tries to rip it off a wall, as soon as they touch it, accelerometer will kick off, send you a proactive alert along with the clip of the incident. And then the third piece is they're all machine learning. So if anyone spray paints the camera, like sometimes you'll see in movies, there's really anything to distort the image the camera will actually pick up on that occlusion event and send you a proactive alert in real time. And then if I click on each of these icons, I get a preview of what that camera is looking at. But if I click on Verkada HQ, this is actually going to pull up a floor plan. So with the floor plan, I can filter through different floors, different buildings, and see the line of sight of each of the cameras. One thing to take it a step further, if I click on People Heat Map, this is going to show me the flow of people throughout my facility. I can filter on the time interval, the date, and see the high traffic areas. Where are the most people walking throughout my building, around my building? And more recently, our customers are using this in response to COVID, right? Where are our high risk areas? Where do we need to rethink the flow of people, or just ensure we sanitize a little bit further? And then when you click on each icon, same process, you can get a preview of the live feed. But if you want to jump into a camera itself, one way to do so is click on that feed there, and that will pull you into the camera. So from here, there's a number of different ways to search for footage, search for information, any sort of incident. These thumbnails below are what the camera's always pinging up to the cloud. I can filter from 24 hours down to 20 seconds. And if I just hover over, I can essentially fast forward and rewind through whichever time interval I set, right? So it's a high level preview because it is only thumbnails at this point. But one thing I want to point out are those blue tick marks. That's our people counter. That's showing us that there's uniquely someone in the scene. Someone's been detected. So if you're looking for an incident after hours, it helps you narrow your search to find where a person was detected. But the easiest way to search for some sort of event is just by drawing a motion grid search. So let's say I wanted to see anyone that's come in or out of this door in between the date and time frame that I select below. I can just draw a grid around the door. Keep an eye on the thumbnails below. They're going to populate with every instance of motion the camera has detected in between the date range that I select. Take that a step further. Let's filter by people. So now that's only going to show me when a person's crossed that plane, or more likely than not, someone coming in or out of the building. And then when you click on the thumbnail, that's when it actually will replay the footage that's living on the camera's solid state storage built in. Now, from here, there's a number of ways to further investigate. I can drag to fast forward or rewind. I can rewind or playback, change the playback speed here, take a screenshot. But if I wanted to maybe track this individual as he's left the building or view it from a different vantage point, I can just add cameras. And as soon as I add cameras, those cameras are now going to sync up and replay at the same time. So I can continue to track this individual. This is a little bit further away, so it'd take a little bit for him to pop up there. But as you can see, you get the full picture using the Verkada cloud to automatically sync the cameras to fully investigate an incident instead of just going back and forth between two. Now, if you're looking for a specific person of interest, the easiest way to find that footage is using our people analytics. With people analytics, what the camera is doing is identifying every person in the scene, and you can filter on their appearance. So let's imagine maybe, I got a report that at one of my buildings, someone had seen a suspicious man walking around, didn't recognize them, wasn't an employee, only noticed they were wearing a red shirt or a blue shirt or whichever color. Now I can filter on their appearance. So if I click red shirt, click apply, it's going to search this camera or all cameras for anyone wearing red. Take that a step further. Let's say I knew what the person looked like. Maybe it was an employee involved in an incident. I can go and search for all of the faces here and scroll through until I find any of the detected faces. Or if I have an image of them, whether it's a suspect or an employee involved in some sort of incident, right? I can upload their image to search across my cameras. So if I go to the search bar, I'm going to upload an image of Ivan here. As soon as I upload his image, right? Maybe Ivan was involved in an incident. Let's go back and find that incident. Or police came by and said, hey, have you seen the suspect? Let's upload their image. It's going to search across all of my cameras for any time it's seen Ivan. So it's great for looking for a specific person. Also great for contact tracing, right? At our office, if Ivan tests positive, we're going to upload his photo and see, was he wearing a mask? He probably should have been there. Has he interacted with anyone without a mask on, so we can ensure to get some additional testing conducted? And then same process. If I click on the actual thumbnail, that's when it's going to replay the footage that's built in the camera's solid state storage. So from here, let's imagine this is the incident, right? This is what we wanted to save and ultimately share. Right now, this lives on the camera itself, but if we wanted to save this and archive this to the cloud, all I have to do is click this button, and now I can archive this, save it for everyone who has access to command, save it privately, blur faces. As soon as I hit archive, that's going to make a copy of that clip and save it to this archive section on the left where it will live forever until the day that you decide to go and delete it. So want to reiterate that with Verkada, you get an unlimited amount of archived footage all on Amazon Web Services. view your entire organization's archives, or just footage you saved privately. And then when you actually go back to replay that footage, you'll notice it's timestamped, top left-hand corner, delete it, keep notes on there, download this in your traditional MP4 format. But if you wanted to save this, or share this, whether it's internally, externally with the authorities, the easiest way to do that is this button here. Now I can share this clip via SMS, email, or link instantly, set an expiration on that link, give them access to view and download, or just access to view, right? If it's some sensitive footage, you don't want them saving it or sending it around. So by far the easiest way to share footage instantly, and also an extremely secure way to share your footage. So jumping back into sites, right now I'm at our headquarters here in San Mateo, but want to highlight how easy it is just to jump halfway around the world, and I can run through that same process from our cameras in London. But for the sake of the demonstration, let's imagine maybe I got a report, one of my buildings, there's someone, breaking into the building, or some sort of emergency situation was happening, either on the mobile app or on my phone. I can easily go in and type the group or specific cameras I'm looking for and pull up their live feed. So hopefully there's nothing going on out there right now, but let's imagine that there was. Maybe Ivan was breaking into the building. I needed to call the police, and I wanted to give them access to our cameras as they respond so they could have eyes on the scene. With Verkada, we're the only solution in the world where you can send a live link via SMS, email, or copy and paste the link instantly. So again, we'll be sending out live links if you're interested. We'll show that number again to send or text your work email so we can get you access to this camera to show you how that works. A few more things our customers really enjoy, with our outdoor cameras. Along with people analytics, we have vehicle analytics. And as you can imagine, if there is an incident involving any sort of vehicle, what's typically remembered, the make or the model or the color, and now you can search on that. So, let's imagine like, hey, someone, hit my car, drove off, it was a white truck. Let's go in and let's search white truck on this camera or across all cameras for any vehicle that generally resembles that make or model or color. And then jumping into settings, this is where you can see where the camera, see all the information about the camera, set up those proactive alerts with motion notifications, right? I want to be alerted during certain days of the week on specific areas during certain time frames. And I want to eliminate false positives. Only alert me if a person crosses that plane or vehicles or both, right? No one likes to be alerted middle of the night if an animal crosses that plane. And then all of those notifications can be found in this notification center where you can filter by the date to type the camera. And one type I want to highlight is person of interest. With person of interest, our customers are able to upload an image of any individual that they want to be alerted if they come by. So think of disgruntled employees, think of people that you've had issues with in the past, right? Or more recently, right? Let's talk about Ivan again. If Ivan tested positive for COVID, I want to make sure that he's not near any of my facilities, even if he left some personal items at home. Let's upload his image, or really anyone that we want to be alerted if they come by. So just another way, we're moving away from the reactive system. Something happens, let's go back and try and find it, to more of a proactive system, right? Let's alert our customers as things happen, and in this case, even before things happen. And then as far as users go, extremely easy to manage, extremely easy to add. You get an unlimited amount of users with Verkada. You add them by email, and then you can assign them different roles for different sites, right? Whether it's an admin, viewer, live-only viewer for different locations that they may be working at. So very easy to get very granular with the type of permissions. And then adding the device is extremely simple as well. They're all plugged in via PoE. So Cat6 cabling, you plug them in, type in the serial number, and it's up and running within a couple of minutes. No more NVRs, no more DVRs, no more servers. Now transitioning, you guys may have seen this access tab here on the right. In order to get access, you'll add a device in the same way you'd add a camera, and that will grant you access to our door access platform, which we've been working on for a number of years with existing customers. The first tab I want to highlight here is this live tab. So this is showing me all the activity that's taking place around my facility or multiple facilities. So think of security guards or even receptionists, right? You put this up and you can see a live playback of everything that's happened and everything that's going on in real time throughout your building. Jumping over to sites, this is where you can organize all of those doors. You can organize them by different sites. You can click to unlock. You can see a preview of the camera you've assigned to each of those doors. Or I can search for a door in particular to do a little bit of a deeper dive. So if I jump into our front door, you can see this live camera view, really a testament to the power of the integration between our cameras and access control system. But as you guys know, it shouldn't just be about who gets let in when, but it should be more about alerting, right? Alerting when things are happening around your facility. And with that, it makes it really easy Verkada makes it really easy to filter through those types of events. So I can see not only the type, I can filter access rejected, maybe door held open, who's letting people in that shouldn't have access, right? And I can see the historical footage assigned with each of those. So it looks like Paul held the door open. Let's investigate further. This should look familiar, same sort of playback process. Let's save it and share it out from there. So a process that would take typically hours to go back and find footage assigned with some sort of door or some sort of access related event now takes literally seconds. And then you can manage all the different permissions, access levels, schedules on each door for holidays, for different groups based on function. And then for users, you can assign them those groups to give them access to the building during certain days or certain time frames. You can search for specific people, right? Hans, one of our co-founders, let's see, where he's going throughout the building, what type of events, where is he being trying to get in where he doesn't have access? And again, all of the historical footage paired with that access related event. And then I can see his profile. Does he have access to remote unlock, his key cards, and then what type of access he has, right? Obviously, as a co-founder, he'll have access to everywhere, but let's imagine he didn't, or maybe he just lost his key card and called the facilities team, said, hey, I'm at the garage door, can you buzz me in? Now they can go, they can check, okay, he should have access, but let's make sure that he's actually at the garage door so we don't let just anyone in, and now I can click to unlock to allow him in. And then just a couple last things here with the access groups, right? This is where you can get very granular with the different groups and permission sets you grant, whether it be at one location or across all locations. And like any modern system, there are reporting and alerts that you can set up. You can export this to see all of the different access-related events happening around your facility, as well as set up alerts, whether it be door forced open, door held open, or one of our newer alerts we're really excited about is suspicious activity, right? You may have users that or employees that have access to the building 24/7, but if someone's coming by at 2 a.m., that doesn't sound right. Let's alert and set up those proactive alerts to alert you when suspicious events are happening around your building. And then finally, in case of an emergency situation, we do have a lockdown button. Someone's breaking in, maybe some of the internal doors aren't always locked, lock it down, and then once the situation has been resolved, you can go back and unlock that. So that's about it from a high-level demo perspective. I know we're kind of coming up on time and want to leave some time for some questions here. Again, one last time, if you'd like to receive a live link, just text your work email address to 888-343-7537. And then after this, we'll be sending out a short survey. If you're interested in getting your hands on some free trial cameras, let us know. More than happy to ship some out. But with that, I will hand it over to Raul.
Thanks, Mason. So now that you've learned a little bit about Verkada's solution, you might be asking, how does Barcodes fit into everything? So as a solution provider of Verkada, the different Barcodes Group entities offer design, deploy, and support services to get these solutions up and running and implemented in your environment. So from a design and deploy standpoint, we have a professional services team that can conduct feasibility analyses, site surveys, and really enable us to design a customized physical security solution for your specific environment. Then we work with Verkada to develop and integrate these physical security solutions to alleviate any pain points, and again, make sure that it's the best fit for your environment. From a support standpoint, we do offer around-the-clock support for all the deployed hardware that's out there. We have an experienced professional services staff that can configure and deploy the solutions. And then we also have the ability to provide a team that can help install and support the solution so that it's not a burden on your IT team who's focused on other areas of the business. So again, ultimately our goal is to partner with you to get you up and running, and more importantly, to keep you up and running with these future-proof technologies that you saw today. So at that point, if you can go to the next slide, Mason, and then I'm going to open it up. We do have some questions. So the first question we have here is, It's a little bit more of a comment, but maybe I'll phrase this as a question. So, interested in level of security available for high security environments such as airports. So maybe Mason, do you have any experiences of working in some high security environments?
Yeah, no, we do. And again, we can send some more information just about some of the encryption standards that we have. We work with a number of regional airports as well as jails. A few large deployments in Alabama actually over the last month. So some of the highest security environments out there, right? So we work with really every industry, including the jails, airports, and other industries where they really their day to day is reliant on their security, whether it's access control or cameras. So we can definitely send some more information after the session today.
All right. The next question is, for critical sites, what is the backup if the cloud goes down or isn't accessible?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So obviously our cameras are hardwired via PoE, but let's say the internet goes out. What will happen is, as long as the cameras have power, and again, we have backup, batteries on switches that we recommend if the building loses everything. But as long as they have power, they're going to continue to record. And as soon as the internet is back up, it'll essentially bulk upload everything back up to the cloud. With that being said, we do have offline mode as well. So if you're on site, you can enable offline mode, where even if the internet goes down, you'll still have access to your cameras. That was one of the requirements for a number of our large healthcare organizations, where they said if cameras go down or internet goes down, we need to see the cameras around the hospital. So that's why we developed offline mode, and just another way that we work with our customers to help roll out new things based on their needs.
Okay. Next question we have here is, what resolution do Verkada cameras record in, and how much storage is on the camera?
Yeah, no, great question. So we have a wide range of fleet of cameras, ranging from 2 megapixel all the way up to 4K hyper zoom telephoto cameras. Really just depending on how much resolution you want. As far as the retention, it just depends on the camera model you go with. So we have camera models with 30 days, 90 days, or 60 days, 90 days, 120, and then some with 365 days of continuous recording. So it really just depends on the amount of retention you need. We do have a model for that.
Okay. Could you please clarify the maximum number of devices per site?
Yeah. So there is an unlimited amount of number of cameras per site. It's really up to you. That's one of the benefits. There's no need to worry about the number of available ports or server space on site. However many cameras you need, we have customers with thousands of cameras at one location, because they need high coverage across hundreds of thousands of square feet. So it's really up to you.
All right. Is there a version of the cameras that can hold up in hazardous locations?
Yes. So all of our cameras, I believe, are IK10. They're vandal proof. They're weather resistant. They also all have built-in heaters too. I know, in the Midwest with those cold winters, as soon as it goes below a certain threshold, that heater will kick on. So happy to follow up if there's any specific use cases in mind after the call.
All right. How is the Verkada portal secured? Two-factor access by allowed IP address, etc.
Yeah. So I can send some of our encryption standards. We use the same encryption standards that you use for, let's say, online banking. We do have, two-factor authentication as well. Can integrate with, Active Directory. We have a number of ways to keep it extremely secure. But happy to share some more information about that after the call.
All right, got a lot more questions here. So, if the camera is stolen, do you lose what's recorded on it?
So if a camera is stolen, there's a couple things that happens. If a camera, once it gets touched, that accelerometer will go off. It will start to bulk upload everything to the cloud. Obviously, with 30 days of footage, it probably won't be able to upload everything, within the 10 minutes or 20 or however long it takes for someone to get the camera. They won't have access to the footage because of the encryption. But as soon as that accelerometer goes off, you get a proactive alert. It starts to bulk upload to the cloud, and it's not a single source of failure. So ideally, if it's a high risk area, you'll have another camera to see what's going on. With that being said, if you are concerned about people stealing cameras, we do have 30 days of cloud backup included, which you can enable, where it's just going to automatically back up everything for 30 days to the cloud. So that way, if a camera does get stolen, you'll still have all of the footage.
All right, and this is a question that's been asked a couple times. So if a customer has another brand of cameras, for example, Access, Cornerstone, can it integrate with other devices, or does it have to be only other Verkada equipment?
Yep. So we are a closed system for a number of reasons. One being our cybersecurity. We think of ourselves as a security solution, and when we start to integrate with other camera providers, we rely on their security standards, which becomes an issue, as well as the fact that we're pushing out updates at no additional cost. And where some of the traditional systems run into issues is when, hey, an update got pushed, it doesn't work with the cameras, and then it's a finger pointing game between the VMS, the server, the manufacturers of all the different pieces that go into the system. So I know it's a little bit long-winded, but we are an end-to-end solution.
Okay. How does the camera connect to the internet? Via Wi-Fi, cable?
Yeah. So for the most part, all of our cameras are connected, hardwired via PoE. So Cat6 cabling. With that being said, we do have one camera model that has Wi-Fi capabilities, and we do have remote deployment options as well. If there's no infrastructure in place because of the low bandwidth consumption, there's a number of ways that we can power up the cameras remotely.
All right. Does the camera provide audio capabilities via mic for live communication with person on the floor?
Yes. So all of our cameras have the ability to record audio, and you can record and stream live audio. With that being said, our cameras don't have two-way audio. So the user within command can't talk through the camera via a speaker, but the camera will pick up any sounds if you enable the audio from there.
All right. Next one is, you have explained the camera engineering, local SSD, talk direct to cloud. How do door access points function? And is there a need for a local controller?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our door controllers are very similar as in their hybrid cloud devices. So with Verkada's access control, it's just the door controller. No need for a master controller or server or any PC hanging on a wall in a closet. It's just what we call our AC41 door controller. And we have our own readers, but we can integrate with existing readers. And it's a hybrid cloud device. So it's managed via the cloud. However, if the internet goes out, it's still going to work at the last known configuration. So there's no need to worry about, your building essentially, stopping its normal function if the internet does go out.
All right. Next question. Is it possible to pool camera storage so if one is stolen, dies, there is redundancy?
Yeah, so I guess, let me know if I'm answering this in the way that you were looking for. As far as, if you're worried about a camera getting stolen or dying, because it's a distributed solution, right? All the cameras are actually recording to themselves. There's not a single source of failure. Where we see our customers set up their cameras is where if it is a high risk area, like I mentioned earlier, they're going to have, multiple angles where if a camera is stolen or let's say, it dies, someone maybe shoots it off a wall, right? You're still going to capture that event through the other camera because it's not taking out all of your storage. And we do have, again, cloud backup options, 30 days is included, but we have options for just an additional line item up to and past 365 days.
All right. We have a question. Is there a basic startup package you provide for smaller storefronts with installation, for example, a small single retail location?
Yeah, so there's no necessarily basic startup package. We have customers that, have one camera, like I said, or a couple cameras, and we also have customers that have rolled out globally, worldwide. So it's really, there's no limit or minimum of cameras that you need. Happy to work with you. And I think, if you are looking at one camera, or really if you guys are interested at all, one thing I'd recommend is take advantage of the free trial program. We'll send out a couple cameras, set it up for yourself, and really get a sense for, how it works and how it is set up.
All right, you mentioned international. So do you have clients, this one specifically in Kenya, that you can support there? Do you have clients there, or can you support customers in Kenya?
Yeah. So we can support customers in Kenya. Off the top of my head, I don't know how many we have in Kenya, but I can definitely find out after the call.
All right. Hopefully this is simple. Where are your cameras manufactured?
Yeah. So all of our cameras, we have an in-house development team from a hardware and a software perspective. They're manufactured. The software is developed. The chipsets are manufactured here in the U.S., here in the Bay Area, and then they're assembled in Taiwan. So they're assembled in Taiwan, but everything is developed in the United States.
All right. Are the cameras door access integrated? A trigger relay on the camera for allowing access into a building?
Yep. Yeah. So that's essentially the native integration between our cameras and door access, where you assign a camera and every single door related event will be, pulling footage and live feeds from that camera in particular. And as you can imagine, some of the cool things coming down the line utilizing our people analytics is, hey, Jeff just badged into the building, but, his face didn't match, what we had in the system for Jeff. Let's send a proactive alert. This is a suspicious activity. So a lot more coming down the road as far as the integration goes.
All right. The next one is, do you need a network cord for each door access from PoE switch, or does it come from the main controller?
So do you need a network cord for each door access from PoE? So the main controller will connect to the doors. I can send you as far as the power and internet requirements to plug in the door controller. That's slightly different than just PoE or just with our cameras, but I'm happy to follow up there to answer that in more detail.
All right. And then do you market to homes or just businesses?
Yeah, no, we market to homes. I actually have a camera above my apartment, so we sell both to residents as well as on the commercial side.
All right, and the last question I see here, we're going to close it out with this one. Can you share any situations where Verkada was brought in to service a problem after an install, and is the problem usually associated with hardware or software?
Yeah, so I would say that 95% of all questions or issues that arise can be handled remotely, whether it's a firmware update where, hey, we just need to update this one or reboot the camera from the back end. I will show you where it's easy to connect directly with our support team. So let me just jump back into commands here, where if you have a question, whether it's a new feature that comes out, we'll have the what's new here, but you can connect directly to a real person on the end there within minutes, right from command. We also have an email alias and a phone number, but 95% of the issues can be handled remotely, just connecting directly with one of our support team members. And if not, if it is a hardware issue, we'll just overnight a new one within that 10-year period.
Perfect. Well, that closes it out. Lots of great questions here. So at that point, again, on behalf of Barcodes Inc. and Verkada, I'd like to thank you all for joining our webinar today on the future of physical security. If you have any further questions or would like one of our experts to reach out to you for a free consultation or demo, please feel free to reach out to one of the service providers or solution providers here on the screen that you see. Or again, you can actually feel free to reach out to me directly, and my contact information's there. But thanks again, Mason. I appreciate you taking the time. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for attending, and have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.